Hello again, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Jerry Tan. Today, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with regard to COVID 19 vaccines. If you want to know what these are, please stay tuned and watch this. So, if you like my videos, please click like, subscribe, and the notification bell so that you will be updated with new uploads coming quickly. So far in our country, the Philippines, in terms of updated vaccination rate, you can clearly see here that there's estimated approximately 15 million who have been vaccinated, around 10 million first dose, and around 4.7 million so far have been vaccinated for the second dose. However, we are now presently being threatened by the incoming surge of the so called more transmissible Delta variant of COVID 19. We now know about Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand overwhelmed by COVID 19 cases with significant hospitalizations and deaths due to this rapidly transmissible Delta variant. Up to now, the problem is we haven't vaccinated enough people. Unfortunately, that means that everyone, including the vaccinated, will suffer the consequences of the unvaccinated. So if one person says, "But I'm vaccinated, why will I suffer?" So let me explain this. First, I want to explain to everyone that the COVID 19 vaccines are pretty safe and effective. In fact, it is our best hope of being over this global pandemic. Currently, we all know that all vaccines approved by the World Health for emergency use listing do stand up against the current variants, including Delta. The problem is a lot of my patients and a lot of my friends, and I know of, are being influenced by social media and are receiving another far more insidious message that it's really the vaccines themselves that are the problem. The truth is, they are our best shot of being rescued from this ongoing pandemic. In a recent CNN report, from the report from Commonwealth Fund estimates that COVID 19 vaccines have already saved around 280,000 lives and averted up to 1.25 million hospitalizations in United States alone. If you look closely at this report of a 5-year-old Wyatt Gary Gibson from Dalton, Georgia, this 5-year-old child died from a stroke and pneumonia due to COVID on Friday. This is apparently a preventable tragedy. When we talk about vaccination for the whole family, it does not mean vaccinating a person, but you're vaccinating for the whole family. Meaning not only will the vaccine protect the person being vaccinated, but those around them as well, including children under the age of 12, of which up to now we still don't have an approved for emergency use vaccines. Vaccinations have been proven to slow these mutations from happening because if a person doesn't get infected in the first place, then the body can't possibly become a breeding ground for mutations. But there are those who continue to hesitate vaccines because of possible risk. But we have to remember, but based on data, the vaccine benefits do outweigh the risk. It is true that there have been few concerning possible side effects of certain vaccines. They include the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a rare neurological condition associated with J&J vaccine, Some develop blood clots with AstraZeneca, and of course, the heart inflammation in a small number of people who received the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines. It is important, however, for everyone to remember that these events are very, very, very rare. They are very rare occurrences out of the almost 165 million people who have already received at least one shot. And it's reassuring to know that, for example, in the United States, that in a majority of cases actually recovered. Of note, at present in our country, those who have received Pfizer, those who have received AstraZeneca, we still don't have any reports regarding these probable side effects. While it is true that there may be breakthrough infections after vaccination, and this is true in all, it is not isolated for Sinovac. We already have breakthrough infections for Pfizer and Moderna, including AstraZeneca and J&J. But these breakthrough infections are to be expected. Even if this infection occurs, the important thing to remember is that the vaccines offer excellent protection against severe disease, hospitalization, and death. And that's true even for Delta variant. In fact, based on the data from Israel and United Kingdom. Vaccines don't replace your natural immunity, they assist it. So what happens is vaccines train your immune system to recognize and fight the virus and then disappear, leaving your body to mount a strong defense. So if you look closely at this recent Boston Globe report, approximately 79 fully vaccinated Massachusetts residents have died, 303 hospitalized in a very rare COVID breakthrough cases. And of note, these are the people who have been vaccinated with Pfizer and Moderna. My point here is the hype about Sinovac vaccinated doctors getting infected in Indonesia is therefore not alarming, as other factors need to be considered when breakthrough infections occur. For example, in Thailand, they also reported hundreds of Thai health workers who got infected even after fully vaccinated with Sinovac. But if you look at the data carefully, you can clearly see here that 97% remained asymptomatic or with mild symptoms, and case fatality rate was only 0.16%, which is a fifth of the rate among the unvaccinated public, meaning vaccination using Sinovac among Thai health workers really worked. So statistics matter when telling these stories. So, roughly based on this data, for Sinovac vaccinated healthcare workers, we get 95% effectiveness against hospitalization and 80% effectiveness against death. The bad side of this COVID 19 pandemic, including COVID 19 vaccination, is the so called vaccine hesitancy. In this paper published in Clinical Infectious Diseases, they looked at the different possible reasons why there is what we call as vaccine hesitancy. However, there is some progress being made because in a new poll released by Kaiser Family Foundation, they found that about 20% of those who were initially hesitant about or squarely against getting the COVID 19 vaccine have since gotten their shots. Of course, this is progress, but we still have a lot of convincing to do. And this social media platform that I'm doing have so far convinced some of my patients who initially refused vaccination, but eventually heard my explanations about the benefits of COVID-19 vaccines and eventually got themselves vaccinated. So we have a long way to go in terms of convincing these people who are continue to be hesitant to receive COVID-19 vaccine. Here's a picture or a report of the Arkansas family who now urges people to get vaccine after their unvaccinated mother died from COVID-19. We need to avoid regretting something that is preventable and easily protected with vaccination. In this other report published in Yahoo News, which is a 24-year-old man who refused the vaccine but then contracted COVID 19 in Florida. He got hospitalized, intubated on ventilator, got ECMO, which is a lung machine, and required double lung transplant. He now expresses regret not getting the vaccine. In fact, right now, a GoFundMe page was set up by his friends, raising money to help him cover his hospital bill. So I always tell my patients, if you don't want to get vaccinated, we doctors will continue to help you and fight against COVID 19 if you get infected. But beware that medical costs will really be significant. Instead of getting a free vaccine given by the government, please make sure you have enough funds to cover for the medications, for the intubation, for the ventilators, just in case you get COVID 19 and gets intubated. So don't let this be you. Don't let this happen to your family. Please get yourself vaccinated. The ugly side of this COVID 19 pandemic is that data all over the world is again seeing increasing cases of COVID 19 brought about by the surge of this Delta virus. For example, the new data from New York City Health Department between January to June of this year, you can clearly see that 98.9% of their cases, around 98.4% of their hospitalizations, and around 98.9% of their deaths occurred in people who have not been vaccinated. As long as there's mutation, as long as there's more infectious variant, we will probably not get out of this pandemic soon. So, for those of us who have been vaccinated, and we still have a lot of people unvaccinated, what does this mean? This means so long as other people don't get vaccinated, that COVID will continue to circulate and mutate and infect, and people will continue to get sick and die. So, if you're vaccinated, I would like to say congratulations and thank you for taking part in curbing this pandemic. You did your part. But once you get vaccinated, don't let your guard down. Keep social distancing, wearing your mask. If you aren't yet vaccinated and you're hearing me right now, please, please, please get vaccinated, and we need your help. I would like to put this graph or this cartoon that I got from Dr. Eric Ting in his Twitter. It's either you mask, you vask, or you get a throat jack. If you haven't seen people getting intubated and how difficult it is, masking is a best option, but vaccine is a better option. So here's my parting words for this afternoon's video. The CDC is recommending vaccinate or mask it. But with the emerging data strongly suggest that with this new surge of the Delta variant, we are advising everyone to vaccinate and mask it. Even if you've been vaccinated, please continue to mask because masking can help protect you and protect your family members in transmitting this transmissible Delta variant, especially if you're living in cases with increased positivity of COVID 19 infections. Remember, never underestimate the virus that causes COVID 19 infection because by doing so could be a lethal mistake. It is my appeal, therefore, that don't be complacent, be vigilant. Continue to spread the word to get vaccinated as soon as possible because this could save your life. At the same time, continue to wear your mask and avoid indoor crowds. Again, this is Dr. Jerry Tan. See you again soon.